Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Divine Platform. This is yours truly, the Literati, and all I do here is for the edification of the Most High and for the restoration of His kingdom. And yes, I can do all these things through Christ, which strengthens me, like it says in Philippians 4:13. And it is my prayer that the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart are acceptable to you, God, my strength and Redeemer. Psalms 19:14. Thank you for tuning in to this channel. This is the third part in a series. Please subscribe if you haven't done so, and thank you for those who are always tuning in and reaching out to me via email. So part 1 and 2 lays the basic foundation and provides a scientific description of these orcas, and I hope you've watched those, because part 3 just builds on those two. And in part 3, I will focus on how different cultures around the world describe the orca. And in this part, I will also look at the order Orca and the family Delphinidae. These words and how this culture, I'll show you how this culture is fully inculcated and embedded in our everyday life. It is done so intentionally and deliberately. So summarily, in summary, we will see that this part builds on the previous one. So we have that scientific description of these orcas, and now the cultural description still summarizes them as being, in essence, dangerous, shape-shifting, demonic. So orcas are not usually a threat to humans, and no fatal attack has ever been documented in their natural habitat. There have been cases of captive orcas killing or injuring their handlers at marine theme parks. Like this happened in Florida, I think a while back at Shamu. Okay. Orcas are commonly referred to as killer whales, despite being a type of dolphin. Since the 1960s, the use of orca instead of killer whale has steadily grown in common use. So this is desensitizing language to trick us into getting closer to them and into trusting them. This orcas or this Ursinus bloodline, this genus, is a killer. Do not fall for this language that is intended to desensitize to the fact that they are killers. Mythologies from different cultures repute them as souls of humans to merciless killers. So how do they go from being merciless killers to not usually being a threat to humans? When they say that no fatal attack has been documented in their natural habitat, this is because no one in their right mind is going to go to that habitat, you know? So I'll go through this pretty quickly, just and you can pause and take notes and watch this again, but I'll go through it fast because it's a lot to cover. So these are shape-shifting killer demons. The Haida regard orcas as the most powerful animals in the ocean, and their mythology tells of orcas living in houses and towns under the sea. So that's the Marinekingdom. According to these myths, they took on human form when submerged, and humans who drowned went to live with them. In North America, this is from a different source, Britannica. In North America, the indigenous Haida call them Skana, which is a killer demon. The Aleut people call them Polosatic, which means feared ones. Okay. So the Haida regarded orcas as the most powerful animals in the ocean, and their mythology tells of these animals living in houses and towns under the sea. Revelation 9:11 And they had a king over them, which is the angel of the bottomless pit, whose name in the Hebrew tongue is Abaddon, but in the Greek tongue hath his name Apollyon. All this is relevant, and in this series you will see all these names tie in. I'm tying it all in together. Okay. So they are shapeshifters, demons. Okay. For the Kwakwaka Wak, the Orca was regarded as the ruler of the undersea world, with sea lions for slaves and dolphins. That's with sea lions for slaves and dolphins for warriors. So that's Revelation 9:11 again. The Orca was regarded as the ruler of the undersea world. Okay. So when I read this with sea lions for slaves, this is what came to my mind. The Anunnaki with the lion. So are the Anunnakis the same people as the orcas? What he's holding is not a sea lion, but it's still a lion. I just think it's how they play with the images and the words. But this is the image that came to my mind when I read that they regarded it as a ruler of the undersea, with sea lions for slaves and dolphins for warriors. So the same quack oral history says their ancestors, Namima, came in the forms of animals by way of land, sea, or underground. When one of these ancestral animals arrived at a given spot, it discarded its animal appearance and became human. Animals that figure in these origin myths include the thunderbird, his brother koalas, the koala bear, the koala, the one in Australia. What's the name? The koala, yeah. The seagull, orca, grizzly bear, or chief ghost. Some ancestors have human origins and are said to come from distant places. So again, it's a lot of shape-shifting when they get to land. They change into human form, and we've seen a lot of movies where these creatures, once they're landed, they take on the animal nature, the human. They manifest the animal culture. So, and these people here claim this to be their ancestors. So some of the people walking and living around us, like I said before, are not real. Please watch the video on this channel, People Who Is Who, okay? Okay, the Tlingit of southeastern Alaska regarded the orca as custodian of the sea and a benefactor of humans. The orca is the one that guards and protects or maintains, okay? It's also one entrusted with guarding and keeping property. That's a custodian. Property or records, or with custody or guardianship of prisoners or inmates. The orca is the gatekeeper, is the janitor of the underworld, according to the Tlingit. What are other names for this custodian? Neptune, Poseidon, Shiva, Obatala? So they're custodians of the sea. They are custodians of the records of the sea. I honestly believe that the data we generate and that they collect from us is used to create these records that are stored underwater in the sea. They cannot store them on land because they do not have a right to the land. Okay? How do they try to get rights to the land? By human trafficking, like I showed in IDP, internally displaced people. Because if they can kill or displace the heir to the land, then nobody can make a claim to the land. So they make claims to those land. That's why they're trying to disinherit children of God so they can take over these lands. These are your hustlers. These are your rustlers, your cattle rustlers. They're taking over your land right now. But otherwise, Their place is deep in the sea, the Marinekingdom. Okay, and that's where they store their records. Okay, the Lumi consider Orca to be people, referring to them as Quell Hall Meken, which means our relations under the waves. So, again, watch people who is who. These demonic operations are referred to also as people or persons in legalese. So this is also framing mischief by law, but they know exactly what they're doing. Who is a person? One, such as a human being, a partnership, or a corporation. So a partnership, what's a partnership? Okay, look up what a partnership is and relate it to this. So we need to be careful about claiming kinships with people. Do we know their bloodline, their ancestry? Just because they look and talk and act human, just because they can manifest that culture, does not mean that they are human. This is one of the greatest deceptions. They look like us, act like us. We have such a great delusion that we think they're like us, and we accept and treat them like they're one of us. Okay, but the thing is this: now with the Jupiter ascending, remember that video I did on 2024? Jupiter is being moved out of the way. A lot of these veils are being lifted. So people are now even openly claiming that they are from the Marinekingdom, and they are worshipping these oceanic deities. They're even claiming that the priestess is back, and I'll show you who the priestess is. But just know that other cultures claim this to be people. So, and those people and those cultures that claim them to be people are of the Marinekingdom, right? Okay, these are shape-shifting wolves. In the tales and beliefs of the Siberian Yupik people, orcas are said to appear as wolves in winter and wolves as orcas in summer. So they shape shift into animals, into people. Okay? And I think I showed you in part 1 how they are dubbed as wolves of the sea. So it's not just a moniker or a figure of speech, it's a fact. So let's look a little bit at the wolf. So the wolf, Canis lupus, is also known as the gray wolf or gray wolf. So this gray comes in again. The grays, the alien grays, the orca has the largest gray matter, okay? And then there's more than 30 subspecies of Canis lupus and all that. But of all the members of this genus, the wolf is the most specialized for cooperative game hunting, as demonstrated by its physical adaptations to tackling large prey, its more social nature, and its highly advanced expressive behavior, including individual or group howling. So the wolf is special to them because it helps in their hunting, and we know all they do is hunt. Okay, since pre-Christian times, Germanic peoples such as the Anglo-Saxons took on wolf as a prefix or suffix in their names. Examples include Wolfherr, which is wolf army, Sein Wolf, Sen Wolf, Wolfhard, Wolfgang. So they're taking on these names that identifies their ancestry. And you've seen people who look like wolves, yeah? So, okay, the Ainu people of Hokkaido, the Kuril Islands, and southern Sakhalin often refer to orcas in their folklore and myth as a Repun Kamai, god of sea, offshore. To bring fortune to the coasts, there have been traditional funerals for stranded or deceased orcas akin to funerals for other animals such as brown bears. Again, the bear and the wolf. Like I said before earlier on, not all animals are natural. A lot of these animals are shape-shifting GMO animals. They're not natural to this land. And this, again, god of sea offshore, here we're going to, what do you call this? Animal worship. And that is sin, that is idol worship, whether it's a whale, the golden cow, the dog, the hare, the horse, the bear. And then here it says they bring fortunes. So remember, these people give with one hand and take with the other. So they bring fortunes, but they take lives. Satan does not give without taking. Remember, I told you these are destroyers no matter what. Do not be seduced by the gifts that they bear. And it's so interesting how in this culture, and it's spreading to all over the world, is a teddy bear, how everybody hugs the teddy bear. These animals they promote, we need to be careful. We need to study their history. And this is not only like in the Western world, because even many other cultures in Ghana, which is in Africa, deify the whale. Okay? So these are people who honor the Marinekingdom. Okay, the indigenous Australians consider them to be reincarnations of their ancestors. So long ago, their ancestors used to hunt game in areas of dry land presently covered by sea. This is interesting because the land has been moved about, and areas that were dry land are now underwater, and areas that were underwater are dry land. And in these areas, by the way, they claim them as theirs, and because they are supposed to be underwater. But anyways, I just went to this. They claim these animals to be reincarnation of their ancestors. So what I'm trying to tell you here is that, like I've said before, a very small percentage of people on this earth are not caught up in this, in the devil's world, in the Marinekingdom. Okay? What's reincarnation? It's a rebirth in new bodies or forms of life. What is incarnation? The embodiment of a deity or spirit in some earthly form, a particular physical form or state. It's a version. And I've told you about what they do is perversion, inversion, conversion, diversion, just everything but the truth. What is a carnation? I'm just building on this. Carnation is the variable color of human flesh. And then incarnation relates to incantation, which is a use of spells or verbal charms spoken or sung as part of a ritual or magic. So incarnation and incantation are the same word. Witches trap souls and chant those living dead into existence. And like I told you before, I'm dealing with one right now. It's exhausting, but thank God for God, because otherwise I would not make it. So is reincarnation a demonic concept? Yes. It is witchcraft and soul trapping and splitting technology through the moon. And I know this sound, I would have to do a whole video on that. Hopefully I can. And I know many will disagree because I've spoken to a lot of people, even people who believe in the Bible still believing in reincarnation, which is a sort of mimicry of ancestry, but it's a demonic concept. We come back. We manifest ourselves. We do not reincarnate. That's something totally different. And just don't own these words until you understand what they mean. Because otherwise you don't. Okay, in Western cultures, orcas were historically feared as dangerous, savage predators. The first written description of an orca was given by Pliny the Elder, circa AD 70, who wrote, "Orcas, the appearance of which no image can express other than an enormous mass of savage flesh with teeth, the carnation." That is the carnation. They are the enemy of other kind of whale, because they're apex predators. They charge and press them like warships ramming. Okay, so that's all I have about the cultures, how different cultures describe them. So they're shape-shifting killer demons, the rulers of the undersea world. They are the enslavers. These are the slavers, the slave traders. They're custodians of the sea. Some people consider them to be people, the shape-shifting, the wolf, god of sea offshore, reincarnation of the ancestors, never mind, ever, and enormous savage predators. Okay, so now let's go to Delphi and Cetacae. So this is going to be a lot to do with language. These entities have evolved from marine to amphibians to reptile to human being. The specific amphibian that they evolved from is the orca, which is a killer whale. The human is the nexus where the kingdom of God and darkness meet. So let's be careful when we make claims. Sometimes I don't even know that to claim to be human, honestly, because then I don't want to be associated with these creatures. Okay, these are the same creatures that are fighting for human rights. It is these entities that are trying to legitimize their existence and to be recognized and reconciled and accepted. Let's be careful when we support and join these movements like the human rights. We have to know exactly what we are getting into. Otherwise, we consent, we participate. And if you're a child of God, your participation gives that thing energy. It will make it manifest. Okay? And what's so disturbing is that the real humans are interbreeding with these entities. Okay? Another thing, not all animals are natural as created by God. Okay? Just like in the video, people who is who, about 11% or even less of people on this earth are real. I think the percentage is even less when it comes to animals. I believe a lot of the animals we see around are hybrids. The dolphin, I've said, the panda, the penguin, probably even the zebra. There's a lot. The tiger, I think the butterfly for sure is not an original God-created animal. But anyways, let's focus on the Delphi and the Cetacea. So the Delphi is the family here. That's what I'll talk about, and then a little bit about the Cetacea. So we'll just look at the words that originate from this family. The city of Philadelphia, city of brotherly love. This is the family, the brotherly love. Okay. So let's start from the beginning. So Delphi, in legend, previously called Python, was an ancient sacred precinct and the seat of Pythia, the major oracle who was consulted about important decisions throughout the ancient classical world. The ancient Greeks considered the center of the world to be in Delphi, or Delphi, marked by stone mountain known as the Omphalos of Delphi. This is not the original one, but they just have that in place where where they think the center of the earth is. Okay, so let's look at the word Delphinidae. So Delphinidae, Delphine, the fin, that's a fin. But I also did a video on the fin. I think the three magi or the IDP, the internally displaced people. Okay, so according to the Suda, Delphi took its name from Delphine, this she serpent, Dracania, that's a dragon, who lived there and was killed by the god Apollo. Okay, in other accounts, the serpent was the male serpent dragon, the python. So the python is the dragon. It's all serpentine energy. Okay, the orca is the oracle, is the python, is the serpent, is the dragon. And this is the serpent from the sea, the shape-shifting creatures. Okay, let's look at this a little bit more, at this navel, the center of the earth. That's where they get their 3.14. the 22/7, the pi. So this is the original omphalos. I think that's the shrine. We talked about shrine in, I think, part 2. Yeah, that's it. This is the original one, and it's held at a museum, at the Museum of Delphi, and this is just a simplified copy of this. So the papal tiara looks exactly like the omphalos of Delphi, and in connecting the dots, these are the Dracos, and you have these draconian laws. They're the serpents, and a lot of cultures in Africa keep snakes for witchcraft. They keep these pythons, right? These are the orcas, you name it, everything but the children of God. Again, this papal tiara should not be confused with the mitre which I've shown in the 3 Magi video. That's still of the Marinekingdom, but that's maybe a different order because that's related to the Anapsid skull, or at least it's referencing the Anapsid skull. So I don't know when one would wear the mitre and when one would wear this tiara. Okay, so more on, let's see whether they're wearing this omphalos like. Okay, Pope the 12th and the 6th Pope are seen wearing that. Where else do we see this in real life? So that's the omphalos, which was at Delphi, the original one. This is the Shriners. The first shrine was established here at the omphalos. Okay, and these are your Shriners. These are your Shriners. And I just learned today that these Shriners are based in Tampa, Florida, and they have a football team. They're the Buccaneers, and this is part of their symbol. And the Buccaneers are sea pirates, and we know these people are from the deep sea. These are the pirates, the serpents. If you do the words, the coding in the word pirates, PRT, serpent, pirates, PRTA, serpent, SPRT is the same thing. So the Shriners are a Freemasonic order. They're ubiquitous. They're everywhere. The signs and symbols will be their downfall. And also in this image, we can see the embroidery and the fez, which looks like the omphalos. When people join these orders of fraternities or these groups, I don't know if they're really aware of what they're getting into. I don't know. And honestly, I think even if you get into it, as you learn what's going on there, you probably realize this is not for me, or maybe it's too late. I have no idea. But this is all related. Okay, so the Shriners is clearly part of the Freemason order. And even though they're not using the black and white checkerboard, they have the red fez, which is part of this, part of that. Yeah. Shriners International, formerly known as the Ancient Arabic Order of the Nobles of the Mystic Shrine. It's that same shrine. That same shrine that where the first oath was made. So I don't care how they present, what religion, what creed, they all belong into that. They all pay homage to the same entity. So the Omphalos of Delphi is an ancient marble monument that was found at the archaeological site of Delphi, Greece. The stone of the Omphalos seems to have been decorated in high relief and had an oval shape. Within the woolen cloth that was wound around the stone, there were precious stones designed in the shape of a mermaid, while 2 gilded eagles were fixed on top of it. So this is here to just Show the connection to the marine kingdom with the mermaids again. This is the marine kingdom paraphernalia. Okay. The omphalos of Delphi is the omphalos of the Orca. This is their shrine. So again, back to this, we have Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love. Who brother? What brother? Of the family Delphinidae. Okay. I believe there's infighting because we still have the white shark and somebody wants to come on top of the kingdom. So there's fighting in within the family. And the other, yeah, it's this infighting. Let's look at the name. So Delphi shares the same root with the Greek word for womb. So that's a decidedly feminine or feminine attribute. Python is related to Pythia, the priestess serving as the oracle, and to Python, a serpent or dragon who lived at the site. Python is derived from the verb to rot. Okay, let's go back here so that we don't get lost. Delphi in legend, previously called Python, was an ancient sacred precinct. So this is the name changing, and if you don't pay attention, they will lose you. So Python is Delphi. So brotherly love is Python, is the serpent, it's the dragon. Okay. And so Pythia was a high priestess witch who had access to the underworld. She delivered the oracles. Okay, remember the Tlingit of southeastern Alaska regarded the Orca as custodian of the sea and a benefactor of humans. So these humans would come to this witch. She's a witch. The high priestess, she's a witch. And they would benefit from her oracles that she would get from the undersea world. Remember I told you the records are generally stored undersea, right? So are you connecting this? The human goes to the witch, the high priestess, who has access to the underworld where this, look. She has access, this is a high witch, a high priestess who has access to the underworld, which is loaded with data. So the data they so desperately and forcefully collect from you, and no oracle is a database. It is the database. It is satanic. So they collect this information from you and then they can predict things about you. You see? You give them the information by interacting with your system. Then they pile up all this data, your cell phones, this recording now, they're collecting data, they have cameras all over. It's all witchcraft. Then they store this data, and then they take, it's a game. And then of course there's patterns. So when people go to them, they've been doing this, there's nothing new under the sun. So when people go to them, or they can at least give a rough guesstimate of what will happen, I will do, yes, here it is. I will do, coming up, just stay tuned. After this series, there's I'll do a video just on Python, the witchcraft, how it works and what it looks like in daily life, in our day-to-day life. And like I said before, we are surrounded by this stuff, okay? It is so normal that we don't even recognize it as being demonic or evil. We unwittingly participate. So she had access to the underworld, and or the Orca is custodian of the sea. This is all shape-shifting, the same people all over the place. But we know underworld is underwater, and they have massive underwater data centers. Okay, so it's all the marine kingdom. We see how the Orca is the oracle, the database software, same thing. The Python is a programming language, and we just saw how this Pythia is the Pythoness. Okay, and these cables that run underwater looking like serpents. So by now you should be getting the picture that the AI is the beast, is the demon, is the demon. AI runs on data. And that is why, like I've said before, they want your data right from when you are conceived, and they freely get it from us. Data is the payload. No data, no AI. It could be inferred that data is the beast in the sea that runs AI. It is so in our face, and it's easy to miss it. Okay, so Delphi shares the same root with the Greek word for womb. Oh no, I already read that. Okay, Revelation chapter 20 verse 2 says, and he laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years. So I put this verse here to show us that the dragon is the serpent, is the devil, is Satan. Okay, and he laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years. And now this serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field which the Lord God had made. And he said unto the woman, yes, has God said, ye shall not eat of every tree of the garden? So that gray matter fooled the woman. Like we saw that huge gray matter. Yeah. And this dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. Okay. So this is the Python spirit. And I think I showed earlier, I can't remember in which, maybe part 1 or part 2, how Oceanus, which is just name changing, switching, but the same person, surrounds the world. That ocean, that serpent. And this Ouroboros, where the serpent eating itself, that is demonic. The people, that is demonic. The Python spirit is a constricting and suffocating spirit. So when you feel that you cannot move, you cannot breathe, that is the Python spirit, and it's straight up witchcraft. Remember, if you're not doing what you're supposed to do as ordained by God, someone else is using your energy currency at that same time. Through witchcraft, it's been switched. So when you find yourself in this situation, rebuke these evil spirits and command your energy back to you through the power of the Holy Spirit and prayer. Okay? I will talk more about this in this video, Python witchcraft. Okay? Revelation clearly tells us the dragon is the serpent, is the devil, is Satan. This is the shape-shifting entity. Okay, and for the Swahili speakers, especially in those who live in the Kenyan corporation, we refer to certain groups of people as shifters. How am I a shifter? What are we talking about? Are these people shapeshifters, or were they shapeshifters? And you know there's a big battle with the sea with these same people. I mean, the truth is stranger than fiction, but we know there's no fiction. Okay, let's look at the name Cetacea. So this is the order of the family Delphinidae, of the genus Orcinus species Orca. So this is pretty much a study of the language, the pronunciation. Like I've always said, spoken word is superior to written word because the vibration is in the spoken word, okay? So Cetacea is related to cartography, is related to Cartesian. Let's look at Cetacea. Okay, it's an order of completely aquatic, mostly marine eutherian mammals consisting of the whales, dolphins, porpoises, and related forms, all having a very large head, a tapering body like a fish, and nearly devoid of hair. Forelimbs like paddles, no hind limbs, a tail ending in a broad horizontal fin, a large brain, a complex stomach of 4 or more chambers, and 2 mammae posterior in position. Here, this Etherian simply means, has to do with the placenta, maybe a womb. So Cetacea is related to, these are the words, Cetacea is Cetacean, that's Hasatan, okay? This is what people sometimes call Satan, Hasatan, Cetacean. It's all related to this. Cartesian, which is the mapping, the compass, the cartography. Okay, and I'll talk about this in the extra part after part 3. So when I'll talk about Euclidean space. So when this space is represented by a Cartesian coordinate system in analytic geometry, the Euclidean distance satisfies the Pythagorean relation. So here we have the Python again, the Pythia, and the Cetacea. So this is what we learn in our schools, you know, the Pythagorean and the Cartesian, okay? And now let's look at this, the square and the compass. This is the square here, these angles. And this circle is the compass that represents the compass. Okay. Cetacea is connected to Delphi, which was the seat of Python, from which we get Pythagoras. Okay. Okay, I don't want to get too detailed, so I'm just going to keep it moving here for now. So the cartographers are the Cartesians, okay, the explorers, the data collectors, the tax collectors. It's the same person, the same entity. These are the surveyors, the purveyors, the conveyors, the mayor, okay, the pair, okay, that's the player. And I've completely jumped, and I'll do a part 4 of this where I'll take a little bit more time because it gets technical and I can't spend all time explaining it here. So the pyramid is connected to all this via the compass and the square and the Cartesian and the Python, the Pythagoras, the theorem. Okay, and there's different sorts of pyramids, but the basic one is a triangular base pyramid, from where we get you know what, I won't go much into this, but just know that this is used to produce this, all this construction. And I'll talk more about it. So let's look at the Orca in everyday life. Okay, let's look at this song by Michael Jackson, The Black or White. I am tired of this devil. Okay, we've seen he's the devil. Protection for gangs, clubs, and nations. Okay, causing grief in human relations. It's a tough war on a global scale, that's true. I'd rather hear both sides of the tale, See, it's not about races, just places, faces. Where your blood comes from is where your space is. Space? I've seen the bright get duller. I'm not going to spend my life being a color. Don't tell me you agree with me when I saw you kicking dirt in my eye. Hee hee. Maybe that's the sound a whale makes. It's black, it's white, it's tough for you to get by. And remember, Michael Jackson was black and then he turned white. Okay. It's black and white. You need to watch Abomination of Desolation because that abomination is black and white. Okay. So in everyday life, okay, those, they have it so that they're promoting their culture all the time. So like the tennis match sounds, especially on the hard court, are spectrograms of certain killer whale sounds. Okay. So the world is designed according to themselves. It's designed to conform with who they are, to literally confirm their reality, for they are not. They are a distraction. Okay? And I don't know if I can play this sound here. Let me see if it's going to play or not. Ah. Okay, it will not play. So, but I had a whale sound for you guys to hear and compare it to Wimbledon. But you can make that your homework. Search up the whale sounds and see how they compare to the Wimbledon. Okay, NASCAR. Those races, the noises that those cars make when they're zipping by, it's similar to a killer whale sound. And then the flag, of course, it's black and white. Yeah, we have these people everywhere, the black and white. Okay. Yeah, again we go. The compass on the dollar, like I showed in part 2, I think. This sign, the square and the compass, the square and the compass. Okay. Related words, the occult, that's occultic. Okay, this is what it means. The organization, the organ, okay. How many times do we say, are you okay? Okay, okay. You see what we are doing? Okay, the orchestra. And then location names. Orkney, Scotland. Auckland, Mallorca, Spain. In Luya, the language that I speak, ojo loca is witchcraft. I know in Spanish, loco means crazy. Okay, in my language, loca is witchcraft. But then we have Lockheed Martin, that big defense contractor. So you see how this is everywhere, right? Okay, let's keep it moving here. So this is a spectrogram of an orca whale sound, and this is that portrait. And I put this here just because I was led by spirit. Right now I cannot even explain, it doesn't make sense, but I'm sure it will. God will reveal to me why he had me use this. Okay. When this came out, the information I got was that this was a red herring, which was distracting attention from the real issue. I don't know what that is, but we have a hidden butterfly here, and in my language, the Luya, this is Likuyukuyu, Likuyukuyu. Pay attention to that because later on, maybe in a different series, you'll see what I'm talking about. The butterfly, like I said, like many other animals, are genetically engineered and are not natural as God intended them to be. Okay, I'm coming to the end of this. The inspiration for this video was because of this car. I was driving and I remember thinking, this car looks like a whale. Like, it's the shape, to me, it looks like a whale. And I'm telling you, they program these things, the ratios, the shapes, they know what they're doing. And you can pick up on these animals. They're trying to to promote, not to promote, but the culture. And that word couldn't, well, just could not leave my mind. And also I need a new car, right? So I'm looking at cars as they're driving by, like, okay, what car should I get? But I just remember thinking this car looks like a whale. And specifically, this is the color I'm thinking, this looks like a whale. Okay. Then this antennas, remember I talked about the fin. So the fin is to the amphibian what the antenna is to the insectoids or the insectalians. By the way, Atlantis, that city that people say it was our civilization, Atlantis was overrun by insectalians, and that is why it was destroyed. It was completely overrun by those entities. But anyways, these cars or these items, these shapes, these colors are all rituals having or displaying their properties and characteristics everywhere. Okay. So this is actually pretty much come to the end of this presentation, part 3. So I've identified the fin I talked about in the IDP video. Is the fin belongs to the who? To the Orca. So in summary, these are shape-shifting killer demons which go by many names. It is the serpent, the dragon, it's Satan himself. They run, like I've told you a million times, only on witchcraft. That is their only MO, to distract us and to lead us away from God. Okay. Therefore, as it says in 1 Peter 5:8, we must be sober, we must be vigilant, because the adversary, the devil, is like a roaring lion walking about seeking whom they may devour. They're everywhere. Everywhere. Okay. Let's see. This is the spectrogram of a killer whale. And this is the Bohemian Grove witchcraft ritual. I know it looks like a witch, but I know it's not. This is what Holy Spirit led me to do. And I'm sure, I know for a fact, more information is going to come out. Okay. Please, if you see any relationship, leave in the comments below or reach me via email. Okay. I know people would expect from me, I haven't been on YouTube in a while, to talk about what's happening, like with the elections in America, the coming elections, or the Gen Z demonstrations that just happened in Kenya. Spirit hasn't led me to talk about that. So I will not. Okay, once I get an order to talk about it, I will. But just remember one thing about all this. They're all part of this. And Akhenaten is an anagram for Kenyatta. In Luya, Akheneta means but no. Kenyatta means should not or ought not to happen. Okay. Again, I'm going to show this. I don't know. This is just Spirit leading me to show this. So I will do it. So I'm sure there's a lot of information that's going to follow this. Okay, in the extra part, which is part 4, but I will not call it part 4 because it kind of goes off almost completely into the Freemasonry math, and it gets kind of technical. So I will talk about that. Thank you so much for watching. Questions, comments, suggestions are always welcome. If this resonates with you, please like, share, and subscribe. Remember, all is truth. There can only be truth. Everything else is a distraction. Do not be distracted. Truth is consistent and it endures to the end. This is what will set us free. Okay?
The ancient Romans called him Orca or Canis, Latin for bringer of death. He is without challenge the most powerful animal on the globe, the killer whale. Orca has 48 teeth, set in 2 impressive rows. In some respects, the orca's intelligence may be even superior to man's. They remain loyal to one mate for life. As parents, they are exemplary, better than many human beings. And like human beings, they have a profound instinct for vengeance.